Hi, my name is Michelle Greenman, the Women's Wellness Coach, and this is MGTV. And of course, I bring you these videos to really help inspire you and teach you how to live your healthiest life. It is my endeavor to teach women all around the world how to live healthy without drugs, diets, or surgery. So today, specifically, I'm going to be talking about the big C, or cancer. Now, if you're afraid of cancer, I totally understand. And if you are having a hard time with cancer, or you have a friend or family member or loved one who is going through an issue with cancer, or you just want to prevent it for you and your children or grandchildren or people in your family, then this is going to be a very important video to watch. Now, one of the reasons, like I said, it's okay to kind of be afraid is because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's just so much that is untrue, and it's actually hurting you more than helping you. Not only is there a lot of information, but a lot of the information is not going to bring you from where you are to where you want to be, but instead bring you from where you are, either first getting diagnosed or being sick, to what the medical field would call kind of like a survival rate, or into survival after. And what I personally would like to see for somebody who has cancer, has gotten cancer, is for you to go from having cancer, um, getting cancer, to health, complete recovery. And I know that there are a lot of counselors out there that we are told cannot be healed and that you can't get a full recovery. And I don't believe it. Now, let me tell you why I don't believe it and what kind of qualifies me to talk about this. My mom was actually a radiation therapist that worked in the #1 cancer hospital in Canada for 31 years of her life. And it's funny because it was such a part of our lives that I almost didn't realize how much more information I knew than most people. But I literally would go to see her at work because she was my mom, and really kind of understand a little bit of what was happening, why it was happening. But I think the biggest thing I've gotten from her was 30 years is a long time to see the growth of that industry and to really see what things are happening, and really talk to her about what it looked like when she first started. And a lot of what she saw was some of the cancers that people were getting in their 80s, in their 70s. She noticed later on in her career people were getting in their 20s and their 30s, and that there's laws against what you could tell a cancer patient. And for example, we know that antioxidants are amazing for our bodies, and if you don't know what antioxidants are and you really want to know, just put a comment below and I'll make sure to answer that. But we know that antioxidants are amazing for our bodies, and it protects us from radiation, it protects us from cancer cells especially. And patients were actually told not to eat fruits and vegetables because of the antioxidants, because it would actually fight against the radiation treatment. And it didn't matter that the antioxidants were actually helping the body deal with the cancer cells. It was about it interfering with the treatment. And so I think if people really understood that if I eat the fruits and vegetables, I can actually change the cancer cells in my body, they would choose eating fruits and vegetables instead of getting radiation. And so it was actually illegal, and it still is illegal, for my mom to tell a patient, hey, if you eat these fruits and vegetables, you will start to feel better. And completely illegal because she's not a doctor, the doctor has to say it, and the doctor's not going to, because the doctor has to propose for or condone the treatments that they were trained in, and not treatments that people are not trained in. So that was one thing that was really crazy. Another, I remember us watching this documentary called Big Pharma, that we had gotten free tickets for. So I took my mom. I had gotten free tickets. I took my mom. And in this documentary, it really was kind of exposing how the pharmaceutical companies and the doctors are so close together. And it was amazing. We went to dinner after talking about these experiences that she was having in her office. So remember, she's a radiation therapist. I mean, she's not the head of the department. She wasn't the head of the hospital, but she had drug and radiation machinery people come to their office and bring them lunch, take them out to lunch, put them on trips, etc., etc. And I was kind of really surprised that that would be happening. Part of that documentary on Big Pharma showed that it was the drug companies that were paying for the retreats for the doctors to learn more about drug therapies. Now, the bottom line is what I teach as a health and wellness coach is 100% natural. I don't want you doing anything that's going to hurt you, and I don't want you to do anything that you cannot continue to do or do at home or do anywhere. And so when I believe so strongly about it, I'm going to ask you to start to do it in your life, right? And so the difference between that and a pharmaceutical company is they can ask the doctors to tell you that's what you have to do. And because I don't go visit doctors and tell doctors, hey, instead of putting your patients on cholesterol medication, could you instead have them start an exercise routine? Or could you start them eating more garlic? Or could you tell them to stop eating, red meat? I can't pay a doctor to tell a doctor that, right? I can't pay for the studies that are going to tell a doctor that. And so because it's so easy and it's really kind of integrated in behavioral change, it's not invested in as much as a drug that you might be able to take. Because after you are given the drug, they kind of wash their hands of it. They don't really need to follow through. They don't need to make sure that it's working. They really don't need to know anything about it. This is the pharmaceutical companies. They just want to make a sale. And the difference between that and, for example, what I do and why I work without drugs is I want to see you get to health. I want to see you change the lives of your family. I want to see you be successful in your work or business life. And I'm invested in that change, not invested in you taking a pill that I designed. And so one of the other things about the misinformation that's out there is there's not a lot of advertising for the natural remedies and the natural way of things and lifestyle change. There are some amazing people who are doing amazing work in it, and there are some lifestyle centers that are incredible, but you're not going to see them on TV as much. But I'm hoping that my business will start to change that, and you'll see a commercial of me telling you to drink more water. But that's why. And so what is in the media, what is told to you by your doctors is drug therapy, surgery therapy, and chemotherapy usually. And what was interesting about what happened with my mom's career is she actually started at a point where oncology, radiation, and chemo would fight for the patients and fight for what the doctor would give as treatment. And when they decided to make an agreement that every patient would get every treatment. And so usually now the doctor will say, we need to give you radiation to slow the growth, or chemo, one or the other, then we need to cut out part of the tumor, and then we need to follow up with, if you didn't get chemo at the beginning, chemo, or radiation if you didn't get the beginning. And followed by maintenance, taking pills for the rest of your life. You are literally poisoning your body. There are people out there are doctors out there that know that if they got cancer, they would never go through the regular treatments because each of them are a cause of cancer. And I said that correctly. Chemotherapy will cause cancer because it is destroying your liver. Radiation therapy will give you cancer because I don't know if we all remember Mary Currie. I remember Mary Currie from science class, right? I took advanced science classes because I really like science. And Madame Currie actually died from radiation exposure. She was the one who discovered radium. And what makes us think that it's changed over these years that now we can actually expose ourselves to it and be safe when she died by exposing herself to it? This might be a real shock to people, but my mom, working in that field, had to actually wear a monitor on her coat. And when that monitor got to a certain point in a month, she had to take days off. When that monitor got to a certain point in the year, she had to take days off because there was a certain allowable amount of radiation that she was allowed to receive based on her job in these time periods, and they were not allowed to go over because they knew the damage that they were doing to people. And so she was not actually in any machine getting radiation. She would be around it, you know, but I don't know if you notice it, your hygienic, I'm trying to think of the people who work with dentists. She walks out of the room when they're doing x-rays, right? Your radiologist walks out of the room behind a lead wall when they are doing radiation, because it's not just because they do it often, it's because they don't want to be exposed. And so when we, you know, there's been studies that show that when we cut cancer tumors out, we can easily spread the cancer cells into the body. I mean, these are not really safe things to do when there are alternatives. Okay, and so if there are no alternatives, I would completely agree and I would say go for it. But there are such amazing, powerful, simple, God-given alternatives that we have to treat ourselves differently. So one thing that people don't realize is that cancer really comes from immune system. Each of us have cells that are kind of rogue cells. They're not working the way they should, and our immune system is really what's supposed to take care of these cells. And so when our immune system is compromised, it can't, and it can get overloaded. Now there's only two reasons that I believe that your immune system is compromised. Number one, you are allowing too many toxins into your body. And number two, you are not taking care of your immune system. So if you let bad things happen to you, then your immune system will be compromised. I'll give you an example. If you eat sugar, regular white sugar, for 4 hours after that consumption of sugar, your immune system is working at a little bit of a decreased rate. And then it works its way back up. Okay? And so for many of you, and for my life, how it was all the time, I was eating sugar all the time. You know, like for sure, every 4 hours I was eating sugar. No wonder I got sick every year. No wonder I could get a cold at the drop of a hat. I got strep throat in the summer one year. I mean, my immune system was compromised. The other thing is that you're not doing proactive things to keep yourself healthy. You're not drinking water, you're not exercising, you're not eating right. And there's actually a list of these on my wellness page, and I'm actually going to put the link underneath to go read it. There are 10 things that are really important for you to be doing for your health. Now, one of the reasons that I want to stop at food is because food is a big thing, but it's not the only thing. But when it comes to food, there are certain things that we do to compromise our immune system, and especially to help encourage cancer. And they are fats, protein, and sugars. You could call sugars carbohydrates, but there's I'm really talking about more simple carbohydrates, if you thought of it that way. So with these three macronutrients that we need, each of those you can actually cause cancer with, okay? You can get too much protein and the wrong type of protein. You can get too much sugar and the wrong type of sugars or carbohydrates. You can get too much fat and the wrong type of fats. Now, animal proteins is going to be a problem. Most people get more protein than they need, and too much protein is one of the causes of cancer. Sugars, I already talked about the immune system and how important that is, and more so with the sugar and the carbohydrates is the forms that we get are simple carbohydrates, and breads and cookies and cakes and stuff like that have a whole plethora of additives, chemicals, colorings that actually are poisoning our bodies. And when it comes to fat, most of the times it's because we're frying it, we're eating the wrong types of fats, we're eating trans fats, cancer causers, okay? But for each of these macronutrients, we actually do need them in our bodies. So there is a right way to do these things. And there is a right way to eat carbohydrates. There are carbohydrates that take amazing and they're really good for you. I would think at the top of my head would be whole grain breads. There is a really, really good way for you to get good fats, nuts, avocados. I mean, there's plenty of places, and there are great ways to get protein. A lot of them you've never heard of, but every vegetable almost is going to have protein in it because to make those structures of those cells and those foods takes protein. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to really invest more. Don't be afraid of cancer. Recognize that cancer is a wake-up call. It's an opportunity. It's a blessing for you to know things are not working well, but there is a whole list of opportunities for you to make changes in your life that will not only help you recover from cancer, but will bring your life to a level of health that you never thought was possible. And I just want to encourage you with I just wanted to encourage you with that. I wanted to ensure that you were not feeling locked in when it came to cancer, that you're feeling it was a death decree, that you're feeling that God has left you, because it's not true. If anything, it's an opportunity for you to get the information that you need, get the rest you've been putting off, get the changes that you've always been wanting to do and you've never been doing it, and do it right now. So I encourage you to tell all the people that you know that cancer is not the death decree that you think it is, that it is completely something that is a blessing and can change your life for the better. And I want to encourage you to reach out and get help. Do not go alone with this. And of course, if you're wanting more information on wellness and what that looks like, click the link below. When you get to my website, if you're really interested in knowing more about this topic or other health topics, there's a box in the right corner that pops up that says let's chat. Put your information in there. Let me know what your challenges are, and I will do my best to make sure that things change for you in this week. Have a fantastic week. We'll talk soon. Bye.